All right, thank you, Puckett. Interesting one, I suppose, this one. Boston looking great. Florida yet to really get out of the starting blocks, including a very bad statistic for them, which Ton you brought up just before we went live.
Yeah, Ants just stole it off me there as well. I was furious. I was ready to bring this one down. Yeah, it's a CDL record of 12 map losses in a row, so that is quite impressive for the Florida Mutineers. But the caveat is some of the games they have had have been very, very difficult matchups for them, and they don't get any easier here with the Boston Breach sitting nice and pretty towards the top of our standings. I kind of agree with the desk here. I think this could be one-sided. But we were just talking to Jay there. He's been talking to fellow through the week. He said their practice has been significantly better than what we had last week for the Florida Mutineers. They didn't get a lot of time to scrim together due to initial media obligations, etc., that some of these teams do quite often have. And just getting the reps underneath their belt is definitely going to help things. But you're going in against the team who are on the hottest winning streak right now in the league. This is going to be a difficult game for Florida Mutineers once again.
It is. I suppose with no controversy, you can't overcome it. We'll see whether or not Florida have found something with a week of practice. If they could just get a little bit better, probably not the best matchup they would want right now against the hot Boston.
Boston were really good at this map yesterday. Keep an eye on the ARs. It was Awakening and Beans who had a really good time of things. And they're looking for the flip over towards P2. Big fight going on over there already. Nero trying to set himself up. AR off the rip coming out from the young SMG. Staying alive, looking for this wraparound as the time does continue to go over towards Boston. And just looking over towards things, I mean, rotations are something that obviously you need to make sure you are doing on this map specifically. Florida 11th overall in rotations. Good hold rate, but good hold rate is expected when it does come down to HyDra. Nero is going to get caught on this rotation over towards P2. That rotation will belong to Florida. And as mentioned, their holds are good when they get there, but they need to be when it does come down to this map.
Well, so far, so good. You can see already they're now going to have to do a hard break. Capsule still laying in wait. Will eventually get Awakening. Can Beans get the second kill onto Brack? And it doesn't need to. Nero will eventually clean it up, but time still ticking as Mutineers hold P2.
Some breach. Looking for the break through the front. Dome control wasn't there for the side of Florida Mutineers, and that's pretty much part and parcel of holding down this point. So it's allowed Boston to get themselves into an advanced position. You would have thought that the contest was going to come through there. The shots are good from the Florida Mutineers, though, and all of a sudden they can start to stretch out. Capsule already thinking about P3. Rotation going to be paramount once again, but looking like Boston Breach are going to have that under control. 23 seconds to go. Capsule.
This is a big swimming map at the moment. Boston will break in for scrap time, which is actually really important for them. They were quite significantly behind. Also, looks like the spawns are blocked towards the back of B3. There's going to be Awakening, who's going to be sitting back there. It's a great opportunity here for Boston. They can just hold off Florida.
Yeah, they would be too disturbed by what's going on there. I mean, you lose the P2 rotation, you lose the majority of the time. It's nothing too untoward by any sense of the imagination. African Code, they're trying to find a break here. Capsule will be the one that find the first kill through the front door. Boston kind of all over the place here. Looking for the kills. It's going to be a bit of a flurry in the middle of it. And all of a sudden, Florida Mutineers have found themselves a nice little break. And I believe, as a team, that's their first clean break in hardpoint that they've got so far of the new squad.
That's quite impressive. I will say Havoc did a great job to stay alive there, but two different players were shooting at him, and it kind of pulled them all out of position as they look to continue to push this lead even further away. They have put the spawn back as well. It's exactly what they want to do, as I say that, and Brack spawns back there at the same time. We're able to find two on the flank, but we are off to the rotation. This time again, it will be Boston there first.
I'm going to be there first, but Havoc all the way around the water side. Beans are already keeping an eye on this one. Will get himself into Dome uncontested. Bean's gonna have to back down from that fight. Doesn't want it, and all of a sudden Havoc fighting for this rotation for the Florida Mutineers. It's been 2 out of 3 hills. Looking good for them so far. It's a 40-point lead, but plenty of time for Boston to bring this one back. Good shots from Havoc. Not quite good enough. Beans will hold it down. This is looking like some good time for the side of Boston.
Oh, Pivot's just being so sneaky. He's pushed out miles onto this hill, all the way past ruins, and he's killing players before they can get there. Eventually, though, some of the Florida Mutineers will start making tracks. They're getting into this, but they haven't had a great time getting anywhere near.
Yeah, no pinch is going to be set up here now, but Havoc will find a kill over towards the ruin side, and this becomes a little bit more difficult. Awakening, once again, the ones who give him the hands. Brack now the next on the chopping block, potentially. Good shots coming on through. Capsule will find a kill through towards ruins. Boston Breach are continuing to lock this down, though. That's not the grenade you want to see from your teammate.
Nope, one of the worst nades you've seen. Fortunately, doesn't cause too much damage. It just means that they are going to have to sit all the way back here for this next rotation. Florida completely shut out of that hill. And while they have gone behind, it is not that far.
You can see already Fellow making the push over towards Banana, so that the Boston Breach aren't going to spawn anywhere near. They are going to spawn quite literally in Narnia. Very far away if you are the Boston Breach, and you've got a gauntlet to get through here. Havoc now down this right-hand side. Just locking it down, trying to stay alive for the Mutineers. They will have to clear them out here, Boston, if they want to find a successful push through. Successful push has not fallen their way so far. Beans towards the back, though. Will line one up. Can he find a second here at the Fellow? Needs the rest of his teammates to, well, either push the front or spawn with them. Potential break for Boston now.
You see the pressure still coming through. He's going to find Havoc as well. Clear it out perfectly as well. Beans knowing exactly where he should be, but burnt an awful lot of time. And realistically, at this point, Boston have not managed to get back into it. They'll be looking to try and get over towards P1 and P2. They don't want to be caught in that trap again.
Awakening with the first big kill. I don't think he's going to predict this one, though. Havoc, sneaky as ever. It's all about this rotation. Last time around, it was the Florida Mutineers, the first ones there. They have locked that P2 rotation in. When we do go over there in around 60 seconds, a lot of Call of Duty to be played. A lot of things that could go wrong before we do get there. Vivid. Going a little bit of a swim. Any word that kind of means wet, that begins with a V, I'm not too sure. Kills falling his way though. One, not two. Awakening will clean that one up. Potential for a break here over towards the P2 spawns. Good play from Vivid. A look at Florida Mutineers now spawning out. Big kills coming in from Boston.
Well, that's a perfect flip from them in the end turn, and Boston have played that to perfection. Vivid making the kills he needed to. And Florida not only do not have P1, they don't have P2 either. They'll be trying to get their way forward, but first they have to get through Beans. They have got a player on the flank, though. It's going to be Brack. And that does mean Boston are going to have to back off here and relieve some of the pressure on the P1.
It's good time being soaked up. Brack towards the back is going to be the issue. Good shots coming in from Nero, spots him. This is a great flip and a great hold so far from Boston. They get the majority of the time at P1. They lock in P2. With 3 seconds left on P1, Florida Mutineers not that close, and of course breaking has been an issue for them in general. We have seen it be a little bit better already on this map specifically. Boy and Beans down this right-hand side. Brack will catch him. So dome control now for the Florida Mutineers. There is potential in this.
They have good numbers. They've got through as well. That is a huge jump. They're now all over the place, and Florida look to get through it. They get a couple of kills into the hill. They should be spawning them out now as well. They've done it. Every single kill they needed has come through. Only Beans can be the hero, and he gets two. Oh my goodness, he spawned them back.
He spawns them towards the back. That is disaster class from Florida Mutineers. You do all the hard work, and while still doing some of the good work. Brack will be the one to take down Havoc. I think he may well have died anyway. It was nearly a very good break from the side of Florida Mutineers. And Bean says absolutely not. 15 and 9 out of him. Big kills coming his way. And look at this rotation as well. Awakening. Setting himself up over towards P3. Boston starting to stretch their legs in this game.
Now, Awakening is out of the play, but this is where he wants to be. The problem is, he wants teammates to be nearer. Now the pressure's going to come through. They know where he's going to be. They're already looking for the back here, Florida Mutineers. Awakening is going to have gunfights all around him as he does eventually go down. Boston are not there as fast as they would like to be. The benefit being is that now they can try to capitalize on the chaos.
They're trying to find a way through. Off the top rope, is that going to be the case? Not quite. Really good hold. And honestly, Florida Mutineers, they look great over towards P3. P2 is being kind of hit and miss. Both two teams kind of going 50-50 on it. Boston Bridge still the ones with the lead. It's been a close, well-contested game between these two squads. 25 seconds remaining. Boston still having a look at this because they know they can still spawn Boston towards the Florida Mutineers towards the back, I should say. Is Nero now going to go for the challenge? Around the Rosie we go. Capsule now coming on through. Nero trying to lock it down all on his own. He's got a little bit of backup up top as well. This is 15 good seconds for the side of Boston up for Florida. Looking like they will clean up this scrap, but look at the rotation. Boston up there, and they disrupted a lot of that time for Florida.
Yeah, that was also just being so annoying because you know you're going to keep spawning them back because you've got spawns blocked on the other side. So now I couldn't get that one out. But now it comes down to this. Boston have the rotation, but their setup is not ready. Can Florida Mutineers break this early?
Breaks have been much improved so far. Capsule finds two, and it's just too easy. Like a knife through butter for the side of Florida Mutineers. Boston Breach just falling so flat. And that is just something that can't happen. That's a momentary 4 dead. You get wiped off the face of the map. All of a sudden, you had that early rotation. You were looking good, and Florida cut through you just far too simply. Boston Breach now going to fight for this 20 seconds, but Florida could have an ever so slight lead by the time we head over towards the next hill if they can continue to lock this time down.
they've done an incredible job here, Ton, really have. They were not supposed to have broke that as easy as they have. They were not supposed to hold it all the way through, and they are gunning everywhere they can. Capsule 22 and 15, a 3-streak for him. And this game is still 1 point difference as we head into a new hill. Both teams starting to get in the lethal range to end this.
And a Boston map pick that they will want to make sure they secure. Capsidol may well be the playmaker here, but the rest of his team has to push through mid-map as well. Is he going to get some time in towards the back? His team's starting to find some trades in the middle of the map. Capsidol trying to make the move. Awakening cuts him down. This is good time for Boston. 35 seconds remaining on this hill. Boston will be within touching distance of the win if they can continue to lock this down.
I think Boston might want to keep an eye on, though. He's getting the rotation out here because they can't win it. They have the opportunity to play this a little bit loose and fast. They go for the trades inside. If they win them, they can then go for that P1 flip as well. Capsule, though, fighting towards the front. He will take the time away. And this may all go down to that P1, P2 flip. Neither team is going to be happy about this. Nero tries to be the hero once more, as it is going to be Boston Breach that are flooding into this and refusing to give any more time. Vivid will get the last bit of scrap time. But now it's a little bit stressful. Florida in the better position.
You got to try and get him out of the point whilst you're making this push through mid-alley. Look at those trophies. Brack is just so well protected. You may well be fighting for P2 spawns, but Florida Mutineers can win it here at P1. It would take something special, but the kills coming in from Vivid and Nero towards the front. Keep an eye on Awakening as we go towards the flank, but Nero starting the piece. Boston are 15 seconds away here at P1.
Fellow has to make a kill. But now, with 10 seconds remaining, the Florida Mutineers have got to have hot heels. Fellow's going to get one. Havoc trying to get close. Capsule also pushing towards it, but they're falling. And Vivid is looking for that last kill as well. He guns Havoc away, and Beans takes down Brack, and it is over. Boston, they were in the bad position, but it doesn't matter. They took P1 away, and they took the map.
Nicely done for Boston Breach. Things got really scrappy, and I was considering what they were doing when they were heading over towards the final hill on the rotation, but P1 belongs to them. They wanted the maximum time they could get to head over here. Things got scrappy, and Boston reveled in it. Florida Mutineers, I will say again, much better in the hard points, but being just a little bit better, you're still a bit short. Some of the rotations were great, some of the holds were wonderful, some decent breaks as well, but Boston Breach, when they were getting a rotation and a clean hold, it felt like they were getting a lot of time on those holds, where some of Florida's were a little bit sporadic. Yeah, okay, you were holding for the most part and you were maybe trading the kills out in your favor, but you were losing a lot of time for some of the breaks that Boston were finding, whereas when Boston locked and managed to hold for the majority of the time, they were getting all of that time, what it felt like, at least anyway. We'll have to go back and check the stats, but Boston just felt like a little bit more efficient throughout that game, Brycey, for me.
Yeah, maybe. I was trying to figure out if there was a difference in the slaying, but realistically, no. Both these teams were doing very, very good work around the majority of these hills, and there was a point for Florida where I really thought they might be able to just put this one over the line. They were playing very, very good Call of Duty at so many points on this map, but Boston came out on top. A great rotation, and that break out of P1, Florida Mutineers must have felt their heart sink at that point.
That moment where Beans managed to shut down that P2. I mean, originally it was a really nice break from Florida Mutineers. It was a 3 clean dead. Beans left on his own. He finds 2 to shut it down. And I think it was like, I want to say about 20-25 seconds that Florida Mutineers could have grabbed a hold of. Instead, I don't think either one of the teams really get anything from that. And then they lose rotation after that as well, because of the fact that Boston have spawned out after the initial break. So that's one of those moments you maybe look back on. It was a chaotic one. Yeah, Splay really doesn't tell the story there at all. It's 1 kill difference, and it's towards Florida Mutineers. Very even across the board. Beans had a good game there. Did continue to slow down towards the end, but
massively,
yeah, I know. I mean, really, really close. But a big game from him. Awakening once more. The AR battle on this map is really where Boston have been thriving. Awakening 22-19. That.
And at this point, Ton, you kind of have to say, Florida Mutineers have got to be feeling a little bit of pressure, because the map count is now up to 13, I believe.
Yeah.
And while they looked better, it's difficult to judge for me, simply because Boston have looked great recently. Now, do we take that as obviously Boston being way better in this scenario, but Florida have still improved? Because if Boston are that far ahead, it could be difficult to measure how much the Mutineers have been kind of progressing.
Yeah, it is difficult. Florida Mutineers have not had an easy schedule. I think, you know, to put them in a good spot, 8 games against some of the teams like Vegas, like some of the teams like London, that would kind of give us a good indication, because right now they're playing some of the hottest teams in the game, which I think, you know, we've seen the report card yesterday, and I would agree with it based on what we've seen so far, but it is very hard to judge based on who they have been playing. We have seen some close maps from them. We've seen flashes of potential, but I very much rely on what he's saying in this scenario, in the sense of that search and destroy has been such a big thing for this Florida Mutineers team. It was keeping them in series, it was winning them series, and all of a sudden it has looked a little bit flat. But Fortress is one of those maps where they do typically do quite well on, but that was the old roster. So I'm wondering if that's going to translate here for the new one as we do head over towards map number 2, and aBeZy Fortress Search and Destroy. The record sits at 3-1. Both these two teams with good stats on certain levels of things. Boston are the best attacking team in the game, Florida the best defensive team in the game. So some of these rounds are going to be tight and going to be important for these squads, more so for the side of Florida, who want the 0 down here, Bryce.
They are. Let's see what they can do. We have heard rumors of Florida getting their practice in, getting their breaks ready for S&D this week. That work out from Havoc's going to see a player as well, but has to get out of there. He's not confident in taking it. And right now, Florida have given up an awful lot of map control.
They have done. And Florida are pretty good, at least at breaking out from these 3v4s. If they do lose first blood, their first blood rate is pretty poor, sitting at only 44%, but 60% of the time they win their 3v4s, which is a crazy statistic. A lot of that obviously based on the previous squad, but let's see if the Florida Mutineers' new look lineup have got the ice as well. No kills yet to fall through. Boston happy to sit tight and wait for Florida to maybe go for this plan.
So I think Beans is the player on Overwatch calling this one out, and as he has jumped across, you have seen the move. It looks like Boston are now going to go for a retake. Brad going to be the first one that's dropped anybody, though. Takes down Vivid, looking for the second one, trying to stay alive. They're going to come out. Nero will get it. Havoc gets a second kill. Oh, wow. Oh my god, the round is over.
That ended so fast. Florida Mutineers set up. I mean, honestly, we were concentrating on the gunfight that was happening over towards railings, but then Capsule and Co lock these fights in, and the round is done ever so quickly. Florida Mutineers, one on the board, nicely done.
Here's an interesting thing that I don't know if you caught it, but I'm fairly certain Beans was in a position to watch the cross over the bomb site, and when he saw the players move over the bomb site, that's when Boston started moving. So that was a playbook kind of play coming out of them. It just didn't work out. Florida Mutineers were in too good of a position in the end.
It's such a weird map because sometimes you can start to get aggressive and try and dictate your play from there, finding picks initially, or do you just try and make a retake of a site, which is hard to retake initially anyway. Retake's going to have to be here for the Florida Mutineers, who have lost first and second bloods. Now a 4 versus 3. Well, 3 versus 2, I should say. Matters hard. Capsule on Brack, what can you do?
Capsule's going to try and back off. Can he make the jump? See, I failed that pretty much all of the time. But Capsule has failed at this time as well. It is a difficult proposition. The dead silence will be popped. He's looking to make a hero play. Coming inside towards the back. He should be able to get beamed as well. He has. Brings it back to a 2 versus 2. 19 seconds left. Awakening popping his own dead silence. Trying to make this play here as well. As they take down Vivid towards the back. It's an incredible retake. Only Big Weight can do something, and he's going to go all the way around. He's not going to have enough time, surely. He's flying. Oh, did he get it?
He didn't get it.
I don't know. Mutineers got it. They got the defuse. Oh, he snaked on the stairs. And the bomb was defused.
It's a 2 versus 4 from Florida Mutineers. Capsule and Brack getting just the slightest bit of luck. Yeah, I mean, that was well and truly defused before Awakening even had time. I like the play, but he kind of decided to make the move through top single, and you can maybe... In my own head, I'm hearing the call-outs to say it's not planted for that side, so that's when he has to make the move to transition towards the other side. I think if he went for it straight off the rip, he gets a hold of it. Florida Mutineers, 2-0 up. That was a 2 versus 4 to put them in this position.
Havoc with the dead silence. Hasn't really made a big play with it. Trying to figure out if they can get back into this bomb site, because at the moment they are completely locked out. Keep it on the minimap, though. Awakening could be a key factor in this if Florida try to rotate.
They may well think about it. Boston are giving them little to nothing on this side of things. Fellow will try to find the angle. Vivid might be weak here. Capsule will find one on the beans as well. This is going to now start falling apart. The collapse comes through. Florida Mutineers looking so good here in the search and destroy. Capsule finds another. And this is more like it. This is a bit more like the Florida Mutineers of old. 3-0 up Fortress, looking so good so far.
The fact that Capsule not only took this gunfight, but won it is ridiculous. I'm sure many people have had that gunfight in ranked play. That is not normally one you win.
It's not an easy one. Whether it be hardpoint control, S&D, never an easy fight. Wins it nonetheless. Boston Breach a little bit shell-shocked here. They set up towards that B site, thought they had it under lock and key. As soon as one kill goes down, you start getting the swivel. Alright, where is he? Get the comms in. No red dots yet. And they just fall apart. Florida Mutineers looking good. Brack 6-1 so far for the Florida Mutineers. He's put about 5.67 KD on this map specifically. And continuing that off, yeah, Bryce 6-1.
Trying to see if he can get that cruise, but can he find anything with his sniper rifle? Right now, Boston do not want to challenge him. He looks for it, just a pixel, and he's going to miss as well and goes down as Nero gets two. Everything being taken away from Florida, and this must be a map win for them now. Havoc still alive, a technical 1 versus 4 as he falls.
Yeah, the round goes over to Boston Breach. Crucial there that Nero maybe helps his teammate out. If you don't land a bullet with that sniper, you're pretty much dead to rights. Nero finds fellow, and then it's pretty much written in the stars exactly what's going to happen after that. Good job from Boston. Stop the bleeding just a little bit.
Now, can Florida continue to push this? They've already had 3 great rounds, lost the last one. They'll be feeling a lot more confident. Nero going close again. Boston Breach trying to look and take control of A bit more than Florida does.
Oh, Vivid drops down just as somebody pushes through towards top art. Grenade will go out. That will give Vivid some anticipation that a player will push top single. Florida Mutineers setting up for something maybe a little bit different here. Havoc, peek this if you dare. Is now the transition starting to come over towards A. It feels like Florida Mutineers are very fluid in what they want to do now. Making their move now. It's Vivid and Beans ready for this push.
They wait for it. Beans trying to get something as well, but Havoc takes down Nero close. Beans gets nothing out of it. Havoc no wait for Vivid as well, but Beans does manage to get him down. And Vivid gets a second one. Somehow this is falling apart for them, and fellow has to back off. How on earth have Boston got that retake in?
The bomb's down though. That's the important thing here. Brack trying to find the shot in the Beans. He's got the angle. And fellow now left in a 1 versus 3.
And they'll be looking for him towards the back. They know where he's going to be. He has to pick the right angles, but the timing is not there. And Awakening shuts him down. And Boston find everything. They lose first blood, and the bomb goes down.
Boston getting themselves back into this one. Beans was sitting himself on a little donut there. Now sitting at 2 and 3. Gets himself back into it. Slow little nod. Yeah, I'm back. Don't you worry about it. I'm surprised. I actually would consider the sniper coming up from Beans on this map. We know how proficient he has been with it. We have seen players use it to great effect. I think Illy springs to mind as my top tier when it does come down to peeking these angles in through close, looking at the wider ones over towards open. Maybe just something for Boston to ponder later on. 3-2 to Mutineers now, 2 in a row for Boston.
This time, a bomb has been left over towards B. Realistically, Boston Breach have had a little look around A, decided they haven't liked it too much, and even if they did like it, they have no bomb. Are they waiting on Nero to maybe make a dead silence play?
Very possibly. Did he hear him? No. Even the crouch walking. Don't you worry, Havoc's headset. Nice and loud. Push over towards A now, starting to come through. Are Florida Mutineers in a position to stop it happening? Or are they just going to go for the retake?
Oh, Capsule already gets him, and Beans cannot get that away as well. First blood here, the Florida Mutineers. Beans was desperately on Overwatch, trying to get it. Capsule may even chow this again. As soon as this goes down, Beans is going to be in an awful lot of trouble, and down he goes. A 2 versus 4 now. Boston Breach, can they hold the line?
Keep an eye on Nero. He may well just start to flank as Awakening. Just trying to stay alive. Finds one. Can't find the second. Bracker's watching the flank. And it's a round for the Mutineers. They just seem to be able to stop anything happening over towards this A side. And, well, of course, yes. The Florida Mutineers getting their reps in. Havoc His arms are going to be massive by now, right? This is a lot.
I'll tell you something, certainly more pull-ups than I can do. But I will say this. That site capsule was so influential. The fact that Beans couldn't catch him, the fact that he got that first blood, it just put him in a horrible position. I even saw it, like, when Beans was planning that, there was no way they were letting him out alive, especially with no one looking over him.
Always a difficult position. Even when you do get that bomb down to get out. 4-2 Mutineers. They stop the bleeding themselves. It's 2 rounds in a row, and this one's going to get fast and frantic. There's the sniper out from Beans. I called for it. First blood to Boston. A lot of presence over towards the A side. Capsule is able to answer back, though. Vivid now going to be caught in the middle of nowhere, and Capsule just cleans that up. Where's the comms?
Capsule has been incredible so far this series. Looking for another one. Beans has to back off. Only the sniper in hand. They are outnumbered. Oh, the flank coming through. Keep an eye. Brack is about to find everything he wants, but Capsule takes the kill away from him before he can do anything. He knows where Beans is going to be.
Wow.
Fella takes another kill away. Brack's like, I was flanking, guy. Like, come on.
Capsule wants it. Oh, the smoke now. Looking a lot better. The Florida Mutineers. As soon as Beans takes those first couple of bullets, he's in trouble. Fella will find it. And honestly, it's a bit of a strange one because we see Boston get control. They find the snipe to rip things up and running, and all of a sudden you're in a good spot to lock down that A site. Vivid pushes forward. One of his teammates gets killed and then just gets shot in the back from exactly where his teammate just died from. It's a bit of a strange one. Oh, look at this from Boston.
One more round and the streak is broken, and Capsule is doing everything he can. Goes down to a 3 versus 3. Nero gets down as well. A 2 versus 3 here for Boston. Florida about to break the losing streak of maps.
Well, it will be a CDL record nonetheless. And one that may well stand for a little while. Awakening now going to take plenty of bullets. Fellow is going to get challenged from 1. Is Beans going to expect another one behind him? No, he isn't. 1 versus 2 now for Awakening to keep the game alive.
And he's already been stunned. They know exactly where he's going to be. But what does he do now? They need the biggest of wakes. They don't have it. Florida Mutineers, they break the streak. They have a map under their belt. No longer under that kind of pressure. And some of the plays coming out of Capsule in that S&D, they made the difference.
It's a huge game from him. Not just the numbers, as you said, the actual plays he was making. Putting up a lot of damage and a lot of kills for the side of the Florida Mutineers, the search and destroy streak. And well, is this the start of it? That was a lot more impressive. Traded their numbers effectively. Did great work. Bracket 8 and 3 again. As mentioned, halfway through that one is KD on this map. It's going to suffer a little bit. It was 5.67 after 2 goes at it. 8 and 3 from him. 9 and 5 from Capsule. Damage very much there. First bloods, bombs, defused, bombs planted. Did it all, Bryce.
Yeah, it certainly did. Again, it's one of those things where maybe just a confidence win for the Florida team. They know there's been an awful lot of bad things said about the team, a lot of criticism that has come through the pipeline of social media and our desk and everybody else. But just to get a map win, just to try and make yourself competitive, especially, right, against a Boston team that has looked very good in this qualifier stage.
Yeah, they have looked good, and that's one that Boston will be annoyed about heading into Fortress. Yes, okay, Florida of old at least are very solid at that map, but to go on to lose it after how solid you've looked, it's going to be an annoyance for them. But they know there's plenty more maps to go. They'll be feeling confident still in the series, a potential 3 more to see. Yeah, Bryce.
There certainly is, and I'm looking forward to finding out exactly what will be happening next. But here comes a break, and we'll see you right after this.
The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck. Upgrade your game with the Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. We are live with a game. It's Boston Breach versus the Florida Mutineers. And it is all tied up now, 1-1. And the biggest thing, maybe, is that the curse has been broken. No, wait, that's something else. But the curse has been broken. That bad streak for Florida Mutineers has ended. They finally have a win on the board. And maybe just a sigh of relief over at the staff side.
And very much deservedly so. They played that one nicely. We've seen Capsule find a lot of first bloods. Brack doing what he could throughout the map as well. Florida Mutineers deserved that map. And things weren't looking too bad at map number 1 either. So heading into map number 3, maybe they can carry over that form. Maybe that is going to be the wind in their sails now, Brycey. Maybe they go 13 maps in a row when they win.
Hey, maybe that happened. Well, that would certainly put them in a great position. I'm trying to figure out how far that would actually get them into the major.
Yeah, they might bloody win it.
Wow. All right, I think we've got a bit too far off one map win here for Florida Mutineers, but I do like it. Optimism is always the key. I'm very optimistic myself. But let's see what happens here on the control with Boston versus Florida. Tony, you were saying in the break you still think it's a bit of a mountain to climb here for Florida to take this win over Boston.
Yeah, we've only seen the ones from Florida, albeit it was, of course, with their old roster sitting over towards the January side of things, but Capsule's found 3, one of them being his teammate, of course, so it's a nice first breakout of the side of things for the Florida Mutineers. And as far as things go on the defensive side, though, Boston Breach, the second best team in the game. It's like a 92% win rate on the defensive side, but Florida are keeping this scrappy so far to kick things off. That initial kills are going to start now coming through for the Boston Breach, who can set themselves up. Florida Mutineers now stuck in your spawn just a little bit, but that's a big kill.
But just enough to keep their toes outside of that line. The blender isn't quite locked in yet, and Florida Mutineers do not want that whirring to start. They have to keep this competitive, and they're keeping it open. Havoc staying alive as well. But as they say that, they are slowly losing a bit of ground here. The more time that goes through, the more that Boston can set up.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Your biggest chance in attack on control on Fortress is always at the beginning of rounds. Because you kind of meet each other 50-50. Boston don't get themselves, specifically the defensive team, never able to get themselves in a really good spot to lock you in your spawn immediately. But if you lose that first wave of kills, that's when things start to get a little bit more difficult. 15 seconds or so to go here for the Florida Mutineers. Can they get a touch anywhere?
Here they go. They're going to have to make a big push now across the bay, but Awakening watching the cross. Brack will take him down. They have to move. They've got enough kills to get out at the same time. And that clock will stop on 7.1 seconds. But now Florida have to keep this momentum going. They have to try and find something. They're going to get a player over towards B as well. They've stopped the clock again.
Yeah, Nero goes over to try and stop something happening in there and just leaves the door wide open for the Florida Mutineers. There's a tick over towards B. Beans will find a kill here, though, and Brack all of a sudden is left on his own. But it is a tick. It's just the one. But bear that in mind later on in the game. Florida Mutineers did find themselves a little bit of a breakout there. Boston Breach, of course, will go on to win the round, but that tick might be important later on.
You're correct. Sometimes it's kind of weird to say that this early onto a game, but we don't know. It is so much about the breaks. A good break can completely change how an attacking round runs. And this time around, it'll be Boston trying to get out of the gates and see if they can do it, whereas Florida, it'll be their time to put the squeeze on.
And let's just bear this in mind, what I was just saying about the initial break. It is always easier off the rip for this attacking team. Now, Boston, where do you position yourself? Well, it's a 3-man stack over towards their side. Whoever's top out there, it's going to be Havoc, actually. Seemingly missing everybody going over. Now the opportunity for a retake here for Florida.
They go both directions as well. Look at this. They're going flying straight in. Capsule makes the kills. Will be challenged by Vivid. Vivid goes down as well. Only Awakening left. And they didn't get the tick. I thought it was in. It was not in. Awakening's going to stay out, though, towards B. And all he wants to do here, realistically, is make sure his teammates can get out of that spawn, out of that blender position. Because all of that break means nothing if they don't do it.
Yeah, really good call by Awakening that. Some players would think, yeah, just flood over towards B, stop the time, put some pressure on. But because of his positioning over towards that side, well, he's not alive for much longer. It helps his team maybe get a break out. But Florida Mutineers now start to wipe them. Big kill from Nero onto Havoc. He loses that gunfight. It's a dangerous proposition, but Fellow set up in a really nice spot. There'll be a couple of kills falling his way now. Vivid is going to put some bullets into him. Boston Breach, not in a terrible spot to try and find their way out here, but Florida Mutineers be happy with where they are as well.
And the old electric blender starts.
Here we go.
Boston cannot find their way through yet. They cannot get out. And wait a second, one player gets out towards bottom. I don't think they know he's there either. But he has to make some influential kills. One player out is not enough. You need the rest of the team to reinforce. Vivid finds the first one. Capture. Oh my goodness, he shut him down! And Vivid has got 2! And now they're out and they're in towards A. 10 seconds left to go. They want at least 1 tick off the back of this one. Vivid continues on a 4 streak. That's an Awakening kills Nero with the trophy. They've got 1 tick.
And tick is in, and there's some potential here for the side of Boston Breach. Still a lot of work to do if you want to go on to win this round, of course, but Awakening staying alive inside the point is going to be influential. He's going to get double challenged, and Vivid is now finding the kill towards the mid-map. He's the last one. Nero now the last one himself. Is he going to manage to find a push over? It is the 1 tick. Nero dives into the grenade, stops the time.
The rest of his teammates, though, are just going to be shot repeatedly. You can already see they're going off across 4 as he dive into the point. 1.6 seconds left onto B, but he's alone. Vivid. Don't know if there's enough of a hero play for this one. It's not going to be. But that is the problem with the blender. Even when you feel like you've got 4 players out of it, it just takes a couple of bad gunfights and in you go.
It's really tough. Really tough when you're on the attacking side here. But what Vivid did there is what so many SMG players try to do. It's get a bottom out. You can get through that single door straight off the rip, actually. If you're quick enough, you can just about get there if you get a nice spawn. It's a difficult one to do, but if you can get into that ARP position, you have dead silence to pop. It is a nightmare for defensive teams, and that was the reason that Boston Breach actually managed to find themselves a breakout. A couple of grenades coming over here. Awakening will get plenty of information from that. A couple of players from the Florida Mutineers set themselves up towards the mid-map. It is a trade, 1 for 1 so far, as they try to pick their way out of their spawn.
They're doing a very good job in Florida. Which way do they push? Boston have to take a bit of a step back, have to breathe. And the commitment goes towards A. Nero going to be looking for that first kill. Knows where Capsule is. Capsule is better than it. And all the flying coming out as well. This is going to be Florida Mutineers in the kill feed. That first tick is rocketing through onto A. And while the kills are still going through, at least they got out here. Capsule on a 5 streak.
Capsule are really having a good game here. Can make that a 6 in the middle of the map now. Should be dealt with here. You can wallbang this. He should be dead and is. And Florida Mutineers may well be back into that blender we talk about so often, but a tick already for them as well. Well, Boylan with some confidence now. Those fights were being won, but they have to, as mentioned, pick their way out. That's it. You can't be too rushed about it. You have to just try and find the kills where you can. Awakening Capsule both sitting on a 1 spree themselves, but Capsule with that cruise missile.
They're still fighting. See if they can get one more opportunity coming through. Nero trying to stop everything he can, but they are spawning close.
B spawn, B spawn.
Bean's going to be here though as well. Boston have correctly identified this. They know exactly what is going on, and they are not willing to let it go. Florida Mutineers laying down all over the map as they try to stay alive. Capsule goes for the hero play. It's no good. The rest of them are waiting as Beans. He's in the haystack. There are 2 players next to me. He has no idea he's going to find Brack as well. And can he win a gunfight? No! Hasn't found anything. Dancing in the hay as the rest of Florida run towards that A point. They're stacking it as well to try and get it done early. Nero, the hero, flies in once more. But second tick is done and it may be an A capture.
And it's in. Florida Mutineers. Not doing the impossible, but the improbable. Now they have a minute to possibly do something here. Looking towards the lives, it's not looking pretty for the side of Boston Breach, but Florida Mutineers, map positioning is not looking good now. You may well have taken A. It's a small win to take away from this one. If you can not go any further. That's the problem. Can you manage to find a breakout over towards B? Havoc isn't going to get past Beans on the shutdown on the cross. We'll find another one in the Capsule as well, but these kills are being traded. Works out for the side of Florida Mutineers. I don't know what Fellow's doing, but he's managed to find a way through the B.
Just just trying to stay alive. Just wants that clock to stop to allow his teammates a bit of time. Capsule is calling in the cruise missile. That's going to let them into B. It's going to give him just a small window of opportunity. He gets nothing but a hit marker. And Fallow's going to fall to Vivid. Havoc is waiting. And they can taste it. It's so close. They have a player on the B. They have players out of the spawn. Florida look to capitalize, but shut down already. Capsule will get one back onto it. The trade still comes through.
Still, Brack inside the point. Kill's going to call his way. Capsule towards the back. Can he find the kill on Nero as well? Not going to happen. Nero shuts it down. Only 4 respawns remaining, but 20 seconds for Boston Breach to hold this down.
And here they go. Florida Mutineers can dive in. They just want the trade. That's all they really want. They get the first kill as well, though. It's a 3 versus 7. And Boston do not have control of this. They don't have the lightning. The Awakening gets the first one. Capsule out the back, finds 2. Looks for the third, but his teammate will get it as well. And Florida Mutineers get the round win. And they are ecstatic, and rightfully so. They battled the entire way through that.
And it was just the case for Boston that you never gained ultimate control. Florida kept it scrappy as you like all the way through it. The 2-piece from Capsule to top it off. There's an attacking round. Boston do not concede those very often at all. In fact, I'll tell you the exact numbers of rounds that they've actually managed to concede on the defensive side in a second when I get there. But I mean, Boston Breach, you need to win an attack now. Florida Mutineers in the ascendancy, Bryce. They could take the lead in the series.
Let's see if they can do it. I'm also going to point out Capsule has some serious interactions in this match as well. And again, loading up the kill feed, 21 on 21 now. But Boston need more than a little bit of luck, because they now have to do the thing that some teams find so difficult, winning that attack. They have a tick on the way, but a tick is no longer good enough. It's not about ticks. They have to get the round done.
A good start to it, though. And this push over towards A. Havoc is going to know where he is, though. Bean's already weak. It's a couple of bullets from Havoc. 3 spree for him. And Florida just seemed to have, as we mentioned already, keep it chaotic. That's all they've needed to do. Vivid will find 2 inside a map still, and now a potential door to walk through if you are the Boston Breach. Havoc up top now on this roof. It's such a dangerous position. And now he's ready and waiting for the push to come through maps. You can see the spawn for Boston Breach for Beans and Co. over towards the B side of the map. They can maybe make a push over towards B if they can find a couple of kills yet.
Nero actually finding a kill and getting out of there as well. Probably is pushing into B. It's going to be difficult for him as he goes for the jump across. Capsule, oh my goodness, close to the door on him, and Capsule hits him with a nade. Fellow shooting through the smoke, trying to find him as well, but he does eventually gun Nero. Another tick onto B here as well, and Fellow is shooting lasers here. Beans is eventually going to get in with the Semtech, stays alive, but there's going to be more players coming towards him. Capsule will eventually get to, but it is just enough. Boston Breach have found their way onto A.
Yeah, it frees up just a little bit of room for Boston to now stretch their legs. Vivid up top. I mean, you've got to predict that. That's where they're going to be spawning. Havoc with the big nade. Get me a trophy on the point. Boston are falling apart here. 30 seconds to go. Still so much work to be done. 12 versus 16 on the live front. Florida Mutineers may well take the lead in this series.
Oh, Capsule! Deciding to punish them. They have managed to get out here, but there is nobody from Boston anywhere close. They have to go through Fellow. Fellow's now giving that up because the second tick is going to be in, and he takes the kill as well. And he can do no wrong. Eventually gunned by Beans, but down he falls, and Brack will get 2 more. And all they're looking for now is chaos. They're throwing haymakers. They don't care about a setup. Just keep the kills rolling.
And for the side of Boston, it's felt one by one. It's felt a little bit frantic. It's felt uncoordinated. They may well get an opportunity over towards the A side here. This is not done yet. Beans all the way over towards B. A is going to go. But look at the lives. That's got to be the difference maker here. Beans
has to make some serious gunfights. He made a 2-piece. How on earth has he done that? Boston have to reinforce him.
I see.
Beans still in trouble. Beans is going to go down, and it's a 2 versus 5. Surely there's just no way they can pull this off. Boston need a miracle, and they fall one more time. It's on to Big Wake. He looks for Fellow, but Fellow will not give him time of day. They have nothing but lives to trade to try to find the Big Wake, and they fall, and Florida go up in the series.
Wow. Things got a little bit fast and frantic towards the end. Boston, a small, minute chance there as Beans finds a couple over towards B after the transition when you capture A. It was good for Boston, but it was too little too late. Florida Mutineers. Yeah, okay, the search and destroy, maybe not too much of a surprise. They've stepped it up there, but the control is a big scalp to take. Boston yet to lose a game here in stage number 3 of the CDL season in Modern Warfare 2, and yet they find themselves 2-1 down between the team behind a team that hadn't actually won a map in their last 13. They've now just won 2 in a row.
It's kind of crazy. Who had Florida Mutineers taking down Boston from their flawless record in the qualifiers on the old bingo card? I don't think anybody really thought this was going to go this way at all, but this map, this series is not over. And it was almost magic at the end, Ton. That was so close. A few more lives and maybe Boston could have found something.
Possibility, yes. Possible. It's just that it felt, and I want to say that when it does come down to this map, you kind of clutch at straws to a certain degree. You sit there and you sort of say, right, okay, we got 1 kill out. Let's all flood down this side. Let's see if we can do it. You really have to take your time. It's maybe just a little bit 1 by 1 for the side of Boston. You need to just tidy up on that, especially on the attacks. It felt desperate. It felt like they were always on the back foot, and Florida Mutineers punishing them at every single angle. And now, for Florida, even if you lose this next hardpoint, you've got a guaranteed map 5 search and destroy. This is so doable for them to get their first win on the board with the new roster.
Well, well, well. What a difference a day makes. Havoc 26 and 18 didn't have a great hardpoint, but the next respawn has certainly overperformed. And I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I think it's going to go. We did hear before this map, and I think we highlighted it earlier, that Florida feel a little bit more confident this week because they've been able to get some real serious practice in with their new team.
Well, I mean, we're seeing the fruits of their labor to a certain degree. I mean, Boston are no pushovers by any stretch of the imagination, Bryce. They're currently undefeated in the Major 3 stage here online. It's a big win if they can manage to find this, and all of a sudden, people will pay a little bit more attention to them. I'm not going to say, obviously, this is all dependent on them going on to win one of the next 2 maps. I'm not going to say they're a contender by any stretch of the imagination, but if they can get a win underneath their belts here, everyone will start paying attention to it. It'll make us look a little bit silly with that the report card at the beginning of the week, but hey, that's what it's there for.
At the moment, Florida Mutineers, a little bit of confidence swelling in the breast of this team. Can they keep on moving? Also, somebody needs to sort out the autofocus on Bragg's camera. It's starting to bug me, but we move forward. Hardpoint is up next between these two teams. Hotel hardpoint. Obviously, this was always going to be towards Boston Bridge. Florida, kind of famous for not doing well in hardpoint so far this year.
Yeah, it's really been a theme, but the theme for both these two teams is the rotational side of things is very, very poor. 42%, both 11th and 12th respectively. But Boston, what they have on their side here is that break percentage. That's 3rd overall at 33% and a 5-2 record. You would fancy that this is going to our map number 5, but honestly, I didn't think we would maybe even see this map. So the fact that we're even here throws all predictions out of the window. I was thinking I was doing pretty good in the predictions. Shout out the breaking point, boys. I've been doing fantastic so far. It's kind of in the bin at this stage. Today has not been a great day for me. But Boston, not been a great day for them either. Bad start to this series. First 3 maps not going their way.
It really hasn't, and the fact that Beans before this series kind of told me to change my pickups, and I did. And now he's left just because we're both from Colchester. It's me, Beans, and Tactical Rab, all from a little town called Colchester. Apparently, a lot of CDL talent in that area. But how this hard point goes, is it heartbreak for Boston or a new beginning for the Mutineers?
Look, the last 2 maps, search and destroy. Yeah, Florida looking a lot better. It was over towards Fortress. If there was ever going to be a search and destroy map they could possibly win, it would be that or El Asilo. And the control was something I really didn't expect. This would be a step further. Can they turn around on Hotel? Their fortunes have not been so good at all. This is Boston's pick as well. they've got to be feeling Boston. If you are thinking of map number 5 here, they have to be feeling confident. But Florida Mutineers, can you close it out in 4 miraculously?
Well, that's not the way the Boston wanted to start, with a team kill. Probably the worst break you could possibly have. They need to shut down Capsule. He has been playing lights out, and well, that's a complete shutdown. Already all 4. They'll be looking to convert this into P2, get as much map control as possible.
A split here for the side of Florida Mutineers after Boston do push that aggressively. So it makes it a little bit awkward to hold this P1, and are we just going to trade complete wipes? Well, I was looking that way, but Awakening says no. Still alive and kicking to start the game. Definitely vivid in his cam, but Awakening, nonetheless, is getting a lot of efficiency, I want to say, for his team, getting a lot of positive kills, but not going to work out. P2 looking like it is going to go over towards the Florida Mutineers.
We see now Boston do not have P2. They're going to have to break it, but how do they do that? Let's find out with a listen in with a Boston breach.
Yeah, he's deep behind the truck still, fellow.
Double right, don't double left. Bitter. No.
I'm at shot spot, Spot. I'm getting out, Joe.
I stun red door.
Yeah,
red door.
Counter back. They're gonna be playing us, Ben.
Yep.
That guy, fill up my spawn out.
I'm inside bricks. Could be deep.
I'm gonna go cat, right?
I'm inside bricks.
They're all in the. They have to be playing tight.
Top cat weak.
Oh, and back kitchen. He pushed me on the back.
Back stuff ready.
Go to the van. If you have a nade.
You don't have gun. You want to put up the left. I think we're van up.
One shot,
And the rotation goes so well for Florida. They've managed to get all the way into kitchen. You thought Boston Breach might be able to get that one first, but no good. They got cut down on the cross.
And you were saying to yourself, damn, well, I like that positioning from Brack. I might use that in rank play. None of the people that are playing rank play are pushing glass like that. I'm telling you. Nero Co now through the front. This is more like the ones that I try and have to deal with when I'm locking kitchen down. It's a front hit coming in from the side of Boston. Don't manage to make that work, but 25 seconds remaining here. Kill starting to come on through. That is an ice break coming in from Boston. Florida Mutineers not able to hold.
Brett trying to just slow them down so they can't rotate. He's just being a nuisance and already finds one. He's going to go for the chow at the same time. Nero will get him. And what this does is it slows Boston down across the map. They now have to try and figure out exactly where the rest of Florida have gone and clean out every corner.
Capsule can just be a nuisance here. Major concentration in the player cam down bottom right. 3 and 6 from him. Here's another kill top bedroom. It's such a power position. As the rest of his team continue to lock down the point, he knows exactly where Awakening is. It's more kills for Capsule, 2 in a row in bedroom.
Still alive, going to come into another player here as well. Does he win this gunfight? Just spraying through the doorway, and Capsule actually goes for the reload. Still alive, and you are right. This is a nuisance. It is so difficult. Boston can't actually even start to challenge this hill properly while Capsule was alive and just running around like a lunatic.
Doing a good job, and yeah, eventually they do get rid of him. Spawn towards the back as well, but it's 20 seconds to play for him. Florida Mutineers have played this so well so far. Great shots coming in from Tyler Fellow. 4 in a row from him, and now the rotation is looking like it's going to belong to the Mutineers as well. This could not be going worse for the Boston Breach right now.
Oh, Havoc catches that straight into the face. Fortunately, Battle Hardened will save him a bit, but still wins the gunfight. Flies in, looks for Awakening down as well. Havoc is gunning. Restaurant is secure.
Nicely done. Restaurant is secure for the Boston Breach, at least. Fellow still continuing things over. Cruise missile is available for him, which will help this break if possible.
And what Boston have retaken, it will be on the Mutineers to try and break this one down. Let's find out how they are sounding, though, with the Florida Mutineers. Listen in.
Yeah, definitely try to flip them here.
I'm looking at Cow Punch.
I'm one in the back. He's in the back,
One's still wine arch.
We're out in the back.
I don't know, I hear him on the wood. On me, weak in the back. On the stairs, close stairs. Close stairs in the back. Kill this guy in the back. Nice.
Nice.
Good job.
I'm gonna push
Bumping off the kitchen.
Yeah,
Back kitchen weak. Back kitchen dead.
Nice.
There's gonna be more side door kitchen dead.
Last guy old.
Nice. I'm gonna hold mid. I'm holding mid. I'm holding mid.
Nice. That's one doubles.
I'm backing up. Can you get back kitchen?
I'll get time.
Okay, you have time? I'm holding the back. Where's Reese? Where's Reese on ult?
Hold. I have all
Okay.
kitchen. I have all kitchen.
I'm quick,
Okay,
guys.
do you have mid? Okay, bad. I'm looking your low beds right now, Carson. Hold on,
Okay.
I'm on my kitchen, right, Colt?
What's TV?
No, one's mid, one's top cat, one's low beds. Wait, you jumped outside door, one's low beds, 2 beds.
Yeah.
Help him, Captain.
He's got
HyDra kitchen.
I'm coming front right now. They're gonna spawn up behind me.
I don't see courtyard.
No,
I have push. Crossfire.
Okay, you have my push.
Crossfire, Colt. Look my
There's one in
courtyard.
mid. There's one in mid.
Look my right, Colt.
I heard you.
Look right. Trust me.
I need a court.
Those valet.
And Florida doing a really good job of tracking all the players of Boston Breach there.
wow.
As this rotation has gone flawlessly for them. They're racking up the kills and the points.
Their holds have been so good. When they manage to get themselves in, whether that by be rotating or breaking. I mean, the fact that Capsule is even hitting those angles says a lot to how Florida Mutineers are playing right now. This guy is twisted.
High interactions, high octane gameplay. As we go to this second set of rotations, Boston will have to find something different. They need to figure out how to deal with Florida in this new configuration.
Honestly, I'm trying to figure out how it's just working so well for Florida right now. They're putting themselves in the right positions to find these kills that seem to be trading effectively. It's significantly better than what we've seen over the past week or so. Map 1 wasn't actually too bad from them. Boston clutched up. They'll have to clutch up here again. That's a good amount of kills coming through. Havoc now trying to work on spawns over towards P2. Good shots into Vivid. He should be traded and is so, but spawns gained for Florida Mutineers. 25 seconds or so before we head over towards P2. Florida in prime position.
Now, you can see Boston are in a horrible position. They don't make this P2 rotation.
Oh, they got it.
They're going to be in serious trouble. They've already got one player into it as well.
that's huge.
And Awakening may have just saved their bacon. They needed this. They needed to get into P2. They need to hold the time. They gave it to the Mutineers. They would almost be out of the game.
Mutineers really didn't respect that push coming in through bot. Didn't have anybody watching it. Too easy for Awakening. 2 kills fall his way. Capsule now just trying to find a route through. There's one. Can he find the second onto Capsule? Onto Awakening. Sorry, the ones. If I can't find it on himself. Awakening finding more kills. It's 5 in a row for Big Wake. This time now ticking up for the Boston Breach. He can just about tie it with the rest of this time. But Florida here in numbers.
He's trying to get into it. Nero waiting for his teammates to try and back him up a little bit. He knows he's outnumbered. Shots coming through every single direction, but Nero makes the kill. But they're still not into this point. Florida Mutineers are just taking every point, sucking it dry as they get further and further towards winning this game.
Big shots coming in from fellow Havoc with a big gunfight through the middle of the map as well. So it's a foot race over towards P3. Shots into him. He's going to be a little bit weak, but that is going to be an issue they're going to have to deal with. Nero now catching players with knives out. Great shot into Brack as well. It's only Havoc here who can do anything for Mutineers, but disruption has got to be the aim of the game. It's a mid-map spawn because of where Beans is setting for Boston Breach. He gets taken down. It's 50-50 at Kitchen.
We're looking for Nero, still continuing to stay alive. He's been phenomenal so far, but eventually Havoc will fall, and it may have just let the dust settle a little bit for Boston, because they have to be almost perfect for the rest of this hard point. Kitchen is still locked in. Florida will take their time. They will stack this and try to hit it as one.
Oh, Nero doesn't get traded either. So Florida, we've seen it in Series 1 of the day. Teams well in the lead when it does come down to Hotel, but all of a sudden there's a full 60 whacked in by the opposition, and the game changes very quickly. Now a transition over towards Bars is going to start coming on through, but the Florida Mutineers are going to fight for it. Brack just guns Vivid, and all of a sudden they're in.
And they've got it. They've got everything they need. The tick is still there for them.
And Brack is just
Boston.
soloing, they're rotating.
Yeah, Boston don't have to really do anything but win this gunfight and then actually go across the map. Boston have 4 players here versus 1. They don't know it. Florida Mutineers have played it perfect. They said, all right, we'll leave one. We'll go. We're disappearing. Boston are too far away. They can't even make this in time. And Florida Mutineers take down the flawless Boston. And they are happy, and rightfully so. The team change works. They've had the time to practice. And now it is showing. What a statement for Florida Mutineers on the fortunes they've been on.
That is such a tippable victory for Florida Mutineers. That rotation at the end, I mean, all props to Brack there. Runs in, absolutely guns 3 of them. The first one, yeah, okay, it's a 50-50 fight, but to then push into Kitchen and find those kills so easily. Questions to be asked on Boston's side, but Brack is the one who makes the play And then Boston said themselves, yeah, okay, we need to break this, but you need to risk the fact that the new hill is coming up immediately. Yeah, okay, Florida can win it over towards Kitchen, but don't send 4. You can't send 4. You gotta rotate. But you've got to send somebody in to win that gunfight. Whether 1 or 2 players is excusable, but all 4 players hitting that old side is a mistake. Look, I think the game's probably lost at that stage, but it's a minor misstep after minor misstep for Boston Breach. Florida Mutineers capitalizing on that one. A 3-1 victory for them. That's a huge win for Florida. Massive. They hadn't won in 13 maps. It's a 13 map loss streak. And they go on to win 3 against Boston Breach, who hadn't lost this series. Yeah, Call of Duty League is never too predictable, is it?
And that might be the difference. That's the kind of the crazy thing. Florida Mutineers, we spoke about it before. Last year, this franchise missed out on champs. This year, they are sitting in bottom 4 still. 10 points against Boston, a team we didn't think they would beat with the performance they've been putting on recently. It could make the difference come towards the end of the season. But for Florida, more than anything, it's just a weight off the shoulders. Let's send it over to our desk to break the game down.
All right, Boston doesn't get the 4-0 start. Instead, it's Florida on the board. Thank you, Bryson Tunn. And this is a bit of a shocker. We called it 3-0, maybe a 3-1. We were all wrong. Everyone online, everyone in the chat who is predicting Boston, we all have to just sit back and kind of take this one with a grain of salt because Florida, you played the Raleigh champs. You played the Boston champs. When you play a normal team, they looked pretty solid today, Allie.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've had a little bit more time to get a little bit more reps in with their new players. Again, we talk about a team that basically made a 3-man roster change. Yes, one of them was already the starter of the main roster at the first inception in our first qualifiers, but then gets sat on the bench. And he has to sit and he has to watch. And we're all like, why is this player put on the bench? He's one of the best in the search and destroy. We saw it in that map too. 8-3, 6-2 Fortress win off of a Boston Breach who had just had a comfortable Fortress S&D win. So now we see what the Florida Mutineers might possibly be capable of moving forward.
And if you're looking at that first hard point, it played very much like hard point number 2, where Florida was in the lead for the majority of this game. The difference this time around was Florida closes it out. So talk to me about the individual stepping up for the Mutineers. Who impressed you today from Florida, Ant?
I thought Capsule really impressed me throughout this series, especially in the hard points and big moments, the way they rallied together, but also Fellow. In the middle of that game, like when we went to the list in, he had some great comms. The guy was picking up some big kills with the AR, some solid rotations out of them, and then also to break Kitchen, Fellow got a nasty 2-piece. I think after this series, we're all left scratching our head as to, like, did Florida figure it out, or is this one of those, like, Boston Breach, maybe pretenders? We don't know. Both these guys having a struggle start now. When you look at Boston, like, they were potentially going to go 5-0, but now this loss to Florida is like, are they a pretender? It's
and
so
they went
tough.
to that game 5 against London. Now, I want to remind everybody, they were taking the distance by our 12th seed. Now you lose to the 11th seed. But for the Mutineers, we should change that to the 10th seed. You just jumped over the Guerrillas. You moved up into our top 10. Allie, how do you feel about this shakeup? We should also note that now Boston is below OpTic when it comes to the tiebreakers.
It's a shakeup that needed to happen. The Florida Mutineers were in one of those positions where we're heading near the final set of qualifiers, and you got to try and qualify for champs. So this was a big win, not only just mentally for this team, but for points as well.
Florida, they get off the losing streak, and they finish strong with a 3-1. And we got to give credit to the man with our scuff play of the game. Capsule coming over from the LA Thieves bench. He's in the starting lineup for the Mutineers, and in search, the man was taken over. The SMG always in the right place at the right time.
And can I say also, shout out to Capsule, kind of getting revenge on his team from last year. You know, he was on the starting lineup for the Boston Breach. He does get benched, and although not all the same players are on the other side, he does get his revenge in this series.
Yeah, get it on the GMs, right? It's still a win.
It also seemed like maybe going into this series, they were kind of like, yo, guys, can we just have some fun? Because if you saw in like the video and the cams before the game, Capsule was like dancing, they were vibing. So they came into this match with good vibes and translated to good play.
I like that a lot. Good stuff out of Florida. The one note I want to give them is you got to work on your comms, right? That was some of the most hectic comms we've listened to. If you're listening to all the top teams, very rarely do they need to repeat things 2, 3, 4 times. But end of the day, the comms got them the dub. And as we take a look at our numbers here, Allie, Who stood out to you? Who would you give MVP honors to from the Florida Mutineers if you had to pick just one player?
If you hadn't, I haven't picked one player, but obviously you do have to say Capsule. I mean, the 1.8 in the search and destroy, he ended up going 9-5, and then the 1.35 in the hardpoint KD, just for the fact that we didn't see much from him in the series previous. Obviously, Brack sitting with the 2.67 search and destroy, but that's just Brack numbers, right? He had a 2.9 at one point in search and destroy before he got benched in the league, so I would say give it a little bit of an MVP to Cap.
MVP goes to Capsule, so that's going to be the player I want to talk to right now. Production, make it happen, light them up. Capsule, welcome to the show. Are you here, my friend?
Yo, what's good?
Yes. Okay, first off, I need to know about this dance pre-match. What was going on there? You guys looked like you were loose, but you were leading the charge.
Oh yeah, we're vibing, absolute vibes coming from the squad. You know, it's not trying to stress too much about the first two matches. It is what it is. We played the both major winners. You know, we just know we had to come out strong today.
Yeah, and you did come out strong today, and I want to say, you know, you did get revenge against Boston Breach, your old team from last year. Do you have anything you want to say to them after this dub?
I got nothing but love for those guys. They treated me nice. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, but they kind of need me. I see their game 5s, like they need some help. My brother's Jesus.
Capsule, now coming in, this is your second year, right? We saw you last year with the Boston Breach, and now this year you're trying to find your way, and you get a big win in the revenge game over your last team. What was the discussion like after those first 2 losses? Because they were not easy games, they were a struggle. You guys did not look great, but you come into this with the new energy, still happy with a 3-1 victory.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, like we're just a new team coming in. We're playing both previous major winners, so and we played sloppy. Like that is what it is. You know, we're a new team. We're just trying to fix some stuff. We fixed the small stuff, and we came out strong today.
Caps, Chad is saying you have the best smile in the league. I have to agree with him. Other than the pearly whites, though, talk to me about your name. How did you get the gamer tag you're rocking right now?
So when I was before IW came out, I was playing with my friend, and you know, he's like, I need a PlayStation Plus. You know, I was 13, had no cash. I was like, damn, bro, I'm trying to game, and he gave me this account, which is Capsule, and he hooked it up, and I was like, yep, bet, appreciate you.
Gonna rock it for life now. Well, you're repping it well. You get the W tonight. Who else are you looking forward to playing? I know you guys still have 2 more matches before we get down to Texas for Major number 3.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the Seattle match, I'm pretty sure that'd be a good one. You know, they're a good team. See how we stack up against them, because I feel like we're getting to a form where, you know, we can compete with the top.
Caps, awesome to see you walking away with the W. Welcome to the starting lineup for the Mutineers, and great to see you now with a 1-2 record.
Yep, appreciate it. Thanks, my boy Puckett. Good to have you back.
Yeah, baby. Much love to Capsule. He's got the moves, and they got the dub tonight, but that was just match number 3 on the day. It's a super Saturday, and we still got 1 more to go. Is Vegas going to play spoiler to another top-tier squad? We find out as they match up against Atlanta FaZe when we come back. This is the CDL 2023.